What's that? Much quieter. You don't get the
of the can stuff.
Yeah, and this does act as a windscreen.
I would imagine it's a little slower than the MSR type stoves.
Mm-hmm. I can actually, when the wind shifted, I can feel the heat over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were inside of a hooch and you had that going, that would put a little heat on you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and unlike a wood fire, you don't have to worry about all the sparks hitting it and burning holes in your poncho.
Especially if you cap it with a cup like that.
Yeah. Just more controlled.
Now, one disadvantage I would say probably to that is that you can't dial it back. It's on or it's off.
On or off. There's two settings. Yep. One thing I like about stoves like this is you can go to Home Depot and get a big can of denatured alcohol, and you don't have to worry about it, long term. As long as it's in a container where it's not going to evaporate out, that stuff will keep.
It's multi-purpose
thing
too, right?
Yeah, so it's multi-use item.
Those butane cans there, it does one thing.
Yeah, and then you've got the capability of burning biomass in this. So it does the things that you want out of a stove, in the lower signature stealth type realm. It does those things. And in the long term, non-resupply world, it does that thing too.
I didn't even think about that. You can take the alcohol stove out and use it just like the folding little twig stoves.
And that's primarily how I've used this, is I just carry the alcohol section independent of the other. But if you were putting together a ruck for a longer trip, you could put both in. And to conserve your resources, when the situation is appropriate, use biomass, and when it's not, use the alcohol, So for that reason, that flexibility, I've always kind of liked the SoloStove concept. Like the butane was obviously faster, but we're starting to reach a boiling point here. And the whole thing is self-contained in the footprint of that cup. You've got your vessel, your wood stove, your alcohol stove, all nest inside of that, which is nice. Doesn't eat up a lot of space. They probably make a titanium version of this by now, or somebody makes one similar to it. That would be the only upgrade. Make it titanium, go lighter, I'm a fan of titanium. I don't mind. Some people, they bemoan the cost of it, but to me, man, it's worth it. Everything I have is titanium. I like it.
Yeah, it's super light, real durable, doesn't rust.
Yeah, I mean it's good stuff. But this is way back. This thing is at least, I guess I've had it at least 12 years, potentially longer.
What's that stuff? The lid and stuff there? Does it serve another purpose?
So the lid here has the O-ring so that you don't get evaporation or leakage of your alcohol, and I can attest to the fact it works because I put alcohol in there, sealed it up real tight, carried it around for a calendar year, opened it up, all the alcohol was still there. So that functions as advertised. And then we have this is, I think, just a snuffer to put the stove out. You can go in from here and put your stove out while it's cooking without burning your hand off.
It's a tiny frying pan.
Yeah, or you could saute, a little maggot souffle in there or something. Who knows? So now we're rolling. We're rolling at a rate that you could use that for anything, a beverage or rehydrating some LERP rations or whatever.
Yeah, I would say that took 5 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe something around there without timing it precisely.
And, the handles are warm, on the hot side of warm. So I guess that's why this is designed with the handle. That's pretty crafty. You can just slide. No, we can't. We're gonna have to take the pot off. So there's that. And now this guy, you can snuff out the flame using that. This thing cools down so fast. See, I can touch that already. That's pretty neat. That's real time, ladies and gentlemen. I was able to touch that and pull it off the fire. It all nests together pretty good, I think, actually. Now this part is still hot. That part will still burn you. But it all fits in there. And then that goes into the cup. So all things considered, as far as how compact it is, that's a win. You can see the ports all the way around that thing for the airflow. And what I'm told is it burns more efficiently because of this design. It's like I've had it described to me as a double burn, like you get that first burn off the wood, but then some of those gases that would otherwise produce smoke, actually, they get burned more efficiently.
Second burn.
Yeah, and I'm not
a catalytic converter, I think is what.
Something like that. And I'm not a scientific minded dude. I mean, it
either works or it don't work.
On, off. Like if it's got more than one switch, I'm out.
That's how I prefer it. It works or it doesn't work.
Well, just to kind of show the efficiency of this thing, that's how much fuel remains in there. And, it was only up maybe 1/4 of an inch higher than that when we started. So
how much water did we boil?
Yeah, half.
It's got measuring ticks on this cup, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe 4 to 6 ounces, 5 ounces.
Yeah, and it knocked that out no problem. So, I mean, you can probably get maybe 2 to 3 bowls out of this thing being full. And where's our fuel thing? And
then you can carry your fuel in this guy.
Yeah, and so this is a MSR. I don't like bright red stuff with me in the wood, so I wrapped it in 100-mile-an-hour tape one day because it's more earth.
It's designed for carrying fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it works good. It doesn't leak. I've had it in my ruck a lot, and it has never leaked any fuel out. It is a chunk of weight, and you kind of getting back to that. Now we have to carry things that weigh things.
Yep.
And some people, I have friends, they just run this thing with the wood, and that's how they go. They don't carry the alcohol. I like the option of being able to do both of those things. At different times, alcohol is totally more appropriate,
And if you're feeling low and lonely, you could always drink it and go blind.
I guess you could. I don't know. It's yeah.
There's that.
But you could definitely clean with it.
Yeah.
You could definitely
clean a wound or something.
Sanitize a thing.
Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah, I don't know if it's refined enough for consumption. Maybe.
Well, if you're desperate enough.
Yeah. Any port in a storm is what the old sailors always said. But that anything, I've always kind of been attracted to things that I can keep them going without a resupply. And this is kind of like that. At some point, you're going to run out of denatured alcohol, or you may not have access to it. Then you just back up to fire, As it really concentrates your heat. And you make a campfire, you've got heat radiating in all directions. But with these types of apparatus like this, it concentrates that, and you get more efficient use.
And almost certainly you're going to be able to boil the water with that pile of twigs right there.
Yeah.
Which took 0 time to collect.
Yeah, and you're not out there swinging a machete around or a hatchet or an axe. It's just little biomass like pine cones and stuff. Kind of quiet, low signature way of doing stuff, And I'm probably the laziest guy you've ever met when it comes to survival. People get out in the woods, or I won't even call it survival, bushcraft or whatever you want to call it. They get out in the woods, first thing you know, they're running around, I'm going to build this, I'm going to build that. And they got their saws out and they're building all this crap. And I'm just kind of like, that's a level piece of ground. Done.
Camp set up.
I'm set.
Just any old where just
lean up again. That's how I roll, man. And sometimes I'm too lazy to even lay down. I'll just prop against the tree and be like, all right, we're good.
Camp's made up.
Put a poncho over that, set.
And then you break down camp. Just get up.
Just stand up and dust yourself off.
Camp's broken down. Moving.
But really, look at the smoke, and that's wet wood. That thing does, it's as advertised. That is negligible amount. That's really smokeless, man. I mean, it should be smoking because all this stuff's wet. That's all right. My lid, you know, I lost it a while back. I won't say lost, it's misplaced, because when we moved, it made it here. I just don't know what box it's in. But you put a lid on that, you keep your water clean, and even you wouldn't be getting the steam amount we're getting off of that. So yeah, that just reconfirms. And I guess, you know, these ports, we should have them unobstructed all the way around where you can get your draw. But that's a crazy efficient burn, a super efficient.
With literally just a single handful of twigs.
And they're wet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really impressed with how clean it burns. And, you know, we have woods all around, but there will come a time in your life when you start to think about conservation of the resources. You know, why do I need to be out here chopping down trees and sawing up logs? Not just from a green perspective, but from a perspective of efficient use of my energy, efficient use of the fuel and all of that. You know, if you're walking around in a park somewhere, you can pick little stuff like this up and nobody will even know you were there.
Yeah, you were the laziest survivalist ever. That's why you won on Alone. Efficient. You know, it's like, I have a lot of respect for like the alligator, you know what I mean? An alligator doesn't do anything unless it has to, you know what I mean? It doesn't do anything for fun.
Yeah.
It can lay there for 6 months in between meals, you know?
Yeah.
Just waiting for the perfect opportunity.
I tell people, and I'm not really joking, I'm the laziest survivalist you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I need to run out there and do nothing. Like, people, oh, let's make a fire, let's do that. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. But that's not very visually appealing.
Like, when I made fires, I would make one fire a day when I was on the island. And while that fire was lit, I would cook my food, I would boil water and set it aside and let it cool, fill all my little water bottles up, and then boil another one and let that cool in the container. Mm-hmm. And if it was raining, which was often,
which is all,
push the pot out and catch rainwater.
Yeah.
But I lit that fire, it cooked, it boiled, it dried socks, warmed feet, warmed hands, all it was gonna do, and then it died. That's it.
You don't waste, because gathering firewood is the biggest chore.
Every stick of firewood represented
huge
time,
calories.
energy.
Yeah.
So I had my little bottle traps, they were working.
Yeah.
I had my gill net, it was working. I walk up and grab limpets and seaweed, so I'm like, I don't need to do anything.
What else is there?
You know, the part that, and I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times while the camera's off, the part that really appeals to me is the efficiency of the burn. Even with the flames coming out of the side, how much smoke do you see? You know, very little smoke. Most of this is steam. We have some smoke here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just super, super efficient. And the size of the fuel that we've used,
tiny twigs.
We're talking this.
Yeah.
So you're not out here doing the chopping.
No splitting firewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, look at that boil now, hard boil, rolling strong.
Yeah.
You know, and you have the flexibility. Like, sometimes I'm guilty of falling into this way of thinking. I wake up, I just want coffee, I don't want a fire. I'm like, you know, alcohol appeals to me for that. Or one of the, like a whisper light. But then longer term, I think we have to start thinking about that. What happens if I can't resupply? You're never gonna be out of the game with this stove, so. Eat this one. It's a bit long, you'll have to saw it off.
Hey girl. Hey girl.
But you know, the downside too is it is short-lived. It's not the kind of fire you set it and forget it and walk off and go do something else.
Yeah, you gotta
feed that thing.
Constant feeding little tiny twigs until it's done.
Yep, the second you stop feeding it, you're counting time then for sure. And off camera too, we let it burn down, and the amount of residue that was left really shows you that it is a super efficient burn. You just literally throw some dust up in there and walk off. So, you know, efficiency, no smoke, low signature, and the flexibility of being able to use a fuel other than biomass. To me, it's a win-win. We just got to find out if they make a titanium model of this, and if they do, that would probably be my...
That would be the comment that I would suggest for this video. If you have a comment to leave, if you've you know, a titanium version of this, let us know.
Consider that, you know, if you're looking at getting that type of stove, there it is. There's the pros and the cons. Have a good one.